In this video, we are going to take a look at how to start the process of creating a class diagram. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this small statement of requirements, looking for the nouns which might become classes, might become attributes, and also for the verbs and other phrases which might become operations, associations, etc. And I'm also going to point out some things which we do not want to, in fact, be part of the class diagram at all. This example is the manufacturing plant controller system. Comes out of page 482 of Object-Oriented Software Engineering, the book written by myself and Robert Laganière, published by McGraw-Hill. We'll go through it sentence by sentence. This system will be used to manage and control the production of processes at use case industries manufacturing plant. So the question we're going to ask ourselves is which of those things is probably going to be a class in the system? And we're going to start by looking for the nouns. So I say here, this system. Now, system is clearly a noun. Okay, so I can maybe select that as a noun. If I do, however, then the problem is that then I'm going to be creating an object representing the computer system. And I only want to do that if, in fact, we are actually going to have the system or data about the system stored at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove system. I don't think system would be a good noun. So the system will be used, a good class that is. The system will be used to manage and control, those are both verbs, the production processes at use case industries. So production processes possibly might be a noun that could be a class. Let's take a look at that. Production process, okay, possibly a noun. At use case industries manufacturing plant. Now, use case industries manufacturing plant is probably an instance of class manufacturing plant, so it might well be that we want to highlight this manufacturing plant as a class in the system. The plant makes several kinds of mechanical devices. So let's try selecting mechanical devices. That's another possible noun. It has 10 assembly lines. Okay, let's highlight assembly lines, okay, as a possible class, each of which can be used in the manufacturing, okay, no nouns there yet, of any of its products. Ah, that's an interesting one. Product. So we're going to select this notion of product. Notice that I'm going through and I'm selecting all of the nouns that I think might possibly be classes. Some of them will end up being classes, some of them will not, some of them we will rename. Here's another one, an assembly line, okay, is allocated to a product. Now, when I see the same noun again, I'm not going to highlight it simply because I want to find the new ones. So an assembly line is allocated to a product for a fixed period of time. Anywhere from a few hours to a few days. So hours and days, that's ordinary data, most likely to be attributes. Okay, this is called a product run. Okay, that sounds promising, product run. Let's highlight that. During the product run, the assembly line, which we found before, makes a specified number of units of the product. So that sounds promising. I'm going to highlight units of the product here. Okay, let's keep going. Each product is assembled in several steps. Okay, so step is a possible noun. As the product under construction moves down the assembly line before, it will be worked on in turn by a series of robots. Okay, so that's another possible class as well. Each robot completes one step before the product moves on to the next step. So we've got this notion of steps again, and a different robot. Each robot is dedicated to just one manufacturing step. Again, the notion of step. Each product is composed of parts. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Parts may be bought from suppliers. Ah, now that's another interesting one. Let's highlight that. Okay. Or they may in fact be smaller products that are built by this company. The notion of product again. We've had product before. These are smaller ones, but they're still products. And here is product runs. Okay, runs of the product. We had that before. In each manufacturing step, a given subset of these parts is put together. Parts, we've had all those things. Parts waiting for assembly are kept in numbered bins. Ah, now that's an interesting one. The robot knows which bins to go to in order to get required parts. So we've had robot, we've had parts. Each completed assembly is given a serial number. Now, is assembly the same thing? Let's highlight it for now. It might be the same thing as something we've seen, but maybe not. Each one is given a serial number. Is that going to be a class? Well, it's going to have a serial number. It's just a number. That's going to most likely be an attribute. When orders for products, we haven't seen orders for products before, so let's highlight that, are filled. The serial numbers, we talked about that, of the products sold are recorded with the order. So that brings us to the end of the potential list of classes. We may add more, we may delete some, but let's go back and let's highlight other things other than just the classes. Okay, so we're moving back here. I'm going to change colors in Word. I use word highlighting to do this, okay? So what I'm going to look for now is I'm going to look for the things which might well be attributes, okay? So the system will be used to manage and control the production processes at use case industries manufacturing plant. Okay. Now, manage and control are the actions this system's taking, so they're not going to be attributes. The plant makes several types of devices, has 10 assembly lines. You know what? The number of assembly lines might be an attribute, but it's probably also going to indicate that that's an association. Each of which can be used in the manufacturing of any of its products. Not that many attributes there. An assembly line is allocated to a product. You know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start thinking about associations because I'm seeing lots of associations here. And sometimes you just do things as you find them. So let's highlight allocated to a product because it does seem to me that that is going to very much be an association. You know, an assembly line is allocated to a product for a fixed period of time. Allocated to a product for a time. Clearly, time has the potential to be an attribute, a period of time. How much time is it going to be allocated? So I'm going to highlight that one in yellow. Attributes in yellow, associations in blue. And this is just an example, anywhere from a few hours to a few days. This is called a product run, okay, this period of allocation. During the product run, the assembly line makes a specified number of units. It does seem to me that the number of units might well be an attribute, but that also might be an association. In fact, the things made during the product run. So I'm going to go back to blue, and I'm going to talk about this made here. You know, makes a specified number. That seems to me to be a relationship between the run and the units. Okay, each product is assembled in several steps. Okay, so product has some steps, is assembled in, okay, several steps. That to me strikes me of being an association. As the product under construction moves down the assembly line, okay, so it's on the assembly line. Now moving is not going to be the association, but the fact that there's a relationship there is important. It will be worked on in turn by a series of robots. So worked on is another thing that could be an association. Each robot completes one step before the product moves on to the next step. Okay, so the robot completing a step, to me, seems as though it's going to be information for an association. Each robot is dedicated to one manufacturing step. So that's also, to me, association information. Okay, we've got the parts they're bought from suppliers. Smaller products, so one of these parts may be smaller products built by this company. Okay, there's a relationship between products and other products. In each manufacturing step, a given subset of these parts is put together. Okay, so there's a relationship between the step and the parts that are put together that we're going to have to care about. Parts waiting for assembly are kept in numbered bins, so that notion of being kept in is important, I think. The robot knows which bins to go to. So the bins to go to seems to be an attribute. An association. And each completed assembly is given a serial number. Well, that clearly is an attribute. Okay, so let's highlight that. When orders for products are filled, the serial numbers of the products sold are recorded with the order. So indeed, we're going to have information about which products are being ordered. But why don't I just for a second say that it's really the products sold that are going to be recorded with the order. We will continue this in the next YouTube video.